Is Mendoza really going to win the Heisman thing?
Never understand why coaches kick field goals to make a one-score game a one-score game.
The number of Justin Fields truthers that are out there is amazing.
I bet against a team that had 750 yards of offense.
They do not profile like a 10-win team. They profile like 7-win type teams. I can't wait to let 18 and 22-year-olds go through the I made a call, to Vegas. I said, look, we actually need the paper here.
Good night, everyone. Welcome to Bear Bets. I'm the host of the Bear, Chris Fallica. Jeff, you got company now in the no longer undefeated club.
We do. Me and you have our sorrows. But nonetheless, this weekend is why we love college football. Complete chaos, Sammy.
I bet against a team that had 750 yards of offense.
What you're saying is you hate Jeff. You hate Jeff at Oregon. That's exactly what you said. Wow.
You just turn it off and move on, Bear. That's all you can do at that point.
At what point, Sammy, did we think it was over? Like, was there a certain? I tried to not text about that game because I knew you had money on it. But at some point, I waited for you to text me and be like, "It's over now."
Oh, it was over at like the end of the first quarter. I knew it was over. It was funny though. I was scratching and clawing all weekend. I won 3, lost 2, but people will only remember Bear Rutgers plus 17.5. That's all they remember ever.
Dude, it's so funny you say that because I post my Circa Friday football picks and my Superbook college football picks all along. And of course, early, I had someone on, I went back and read it like Saturday when I was on the plane. And Friday, and I see this one guy post Friday, like comment like good, like he's like, yeah, you're on the sharp sides. The only one I maybe disagree with is Ole Miss, but I think you got a good card. And then of course the egg replies, yeah, or he could be wrong on all of them. Quite an accomplishment. And then that same individual, of course, Baylor falls behind first game of the day on Saturday, and nice pick with Baylor, good start, and then. You know what? I didn't hear from him the rest of the day after I rattled off another 5 and 2. So it's weird how those guys kind of disappear. But it's funny to see. And speaking of over, you knew your Suns bet was over. It's also over now in Gainesville for Billy Napier, fired after the win over Mississippi State in the Swamp on Saturday. Billy Gonzalez will be the interim head coach, and it's been an active coaching carousel so far. It's probably going to get more active right now. But Jeff, your reaction to this, and where do you think that the Gators might go next?
So what's interesting about this, by the way, they won this weekend. I actually had to make sure they won. After when he got fired. I was like, oh, they actually won this weekend. Here's Bear, where I think it's really interesting about the sport right now. So, NIL and the portal have given us parity. Like, we have actual parity, things that you guys have said for years you want in this sport is parity. But what it's leading to is these coaches not living up to expectations because others are rebuilding so fast, right, Bear? Like, you look at what Cignetti's done in Indiana, you look at what other coaches have done elsewhere, and they're rebuilding so fast now because they're able to attack the portal and actually have money now to spend on players and recruits that when guys have slow builds, it looks bad for them, right? When they spend so much money on recruiting classes and don't win immediately, it looks bad for them. There's other coaches around the sport now, Sammy, that might be down this same path. And it all traces back, in my opinion, to the money being spent now to win and how some teams are able to spend it wisely and win. Others, like Florida, are spending the money but not actually producing the results.
It's hard to not look at that list and not look at Jeff Brom at 3-1. I mean, this guy just continues to win football games. I understand there's going to be a lot of hype around Lane. Does Lane really leave Ole Miss? I guess we'll see. Franklin is very funny. Franklin will be on everybody's list, of course. Don't think Freeman's going to leave Notre Dame. But, Bear, you look at Jeff Brom, 27-15 is a dog against the spread and 20 outright wins. This guy just keeps killing Giants, man. He keeps doing it.
And you keep killing Giants, and all you're going to face when you're in the SEC are Giants. So it would seem like that's a pretty good hire. We'll see if he wants to leave his alma mater. You said Lane, obviously, the top of the list. And one thing, Jeff, you brought it up, and Sammy, your opinion on it too. Like, we saw, look, after Florida State lost to Stanford on Saturday night, like it could have been like him getting the Lane Kiffin treatment, being left on the tarmac at SFO after that loss. He got the vote of confidence, all for the AD, said they're going to look at everything after the season. Chris McIntosh gave Luke Fickell, Wisconsin, who've been shut out in consecutive weeks, might get shut out for a third straight week this week in Eugene. Hey, they're going to reassess everything, and they're confident moving forward. It brings a lot of like conversation and way of doing business right now. Because you got the numbers reported to buy out Mike Norvell's staff was like close to $100 million for him and his assistants. Like, are you going to spend that money to buy out a coaching staff, bring in a new coach you're going to have to pay, and you still got to pay players to come, or like just suck it up, live with the staff that you have, and use that money to reinvest in bringing players? Because like you said, like what North Carolina is doing right now, I know they have a great recruiting class, but this like 3 or 4 year down the road rebuild, that's not what fans want. So it's a really interesting dynamic now moving forward. Like, you fire the coach, you got to pay him off, but really just you need players.
So Florida State is interesting because Mike Norvell had won at Memphis. He was 13-0 a couple of years ago. Like, he didn't forget how to coach, Bear, right? We agree on that. He just didn't forget how to coach. So what are the root causes for the issues? Is it his inability to talent evaluate? Possibly, and maybe you have to find a better player personnel guy and say, hey, you know what? You're not in charge of player personnel, which is definitely more of an NFL model, but nonetheless, like I think he's still coach. So maybe it is worth just waiting and seeing the results for this season and figuring out the why. Last year, the why was very clearly almost like a Penn State situation, right? Where they come up the 13-0 year, they start slow, and they're bad at quarterback, and just everything falls down. But I think finding out the why, and maybe it's not that Norvell can't coach, which I don't think he's lost the ability to, but he needs better players. They have to spend money at certain positions. They have to be able to get certain guys, Sammy. So I get the Norvell thing. The Luke Fickell thing a little bit, I don't know, man. I mean, sure, keep them there. But if they go into Eugene, they're 34.5-point dogs in a conference game. Oregon's going to win that game, whatever the score they want to. How do you keep Fickell after this weekend?
I don't know. I would have launched him a couple weeks ago, honestly. As for Florida State, 9 straight losses in the ACC and 1-11 in the last 12. How much longer can you put up with this if you're the boosters right now? I just don't understand.
Yeah, and I know Twitter is not the end-all, be-all with a lot of visceral reaction, but there are a lot of people out there in the Florida State community right now saying that they are boosters. And how can you use it? And to your point, Sam, I put out some numbers this morning there about there are only 4 teams in the Power 4 since the start of last year that have been worse: Purdue, Oklahoma State, Kentucky, and Mississippi State than Florida State have. I mean, there are only 6 teams in the FBS that have a worse win percentage versus the FBS than Florida State does since the start of last year. So they have not been winning games. And I know Florida is a little bit different because I think they have a little bit bigger and more influential of an alumni base and a booster base. You look at Wisconsin, you look at Florida State, state schools in the capital of the state. Money might not be as easy to come by for those places to be able to stomach these buyouts. So we'll see. But it'll be interesting moving forward to see what happens. Both these teams, can Florida State break that ACC losing streak this week against a Wake Forest team, which was a ridiculous blown offsides call away from beating Georgia Tech. So we'll see what the Noles have in store this week. We'll see if the bad. By the way, Geoff, I saw that you posted that Wisconsin's team total this weekend under 7.5 minus 240.
Yeah, under 7.5 minus 240. I mean, geez. They have to score a field goal or something with the starters in. Otherwise, they're not going to get. Oregon allow a late touchdown late, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, minus 240 Bear for under 7.5. It's crazy. That's how bad it's fallen in Wisconsin right now. The top 25 chaos was not there in Madison on Saturday, but the top 25 chaos did obviously start in Miami on Friday night. Miami couldn't run. Luke Garson Beck was terrible. We have a nice expensive 33-37-1 coaster here there, Sammy, on Carson Beck to win the Heisman Trophy. So lack of urgency on the final drive. But that being said, it's still right there in front of them for Miami. In a weird way, the ACC kind of benefits because now Miami probably isn't going to make the ACC title game. A lot has to happen. So
You get Miami potentially in the playoff. You get the winner of the conference in the playoff, and you get 2 bids for the league, kind of like you did last year. So potentially good for the ACC. But long term for Miami, like was this something that we're going to be alarmed of? How poor the offensive line play, how poor Beck played, how they couldn't run defense, a couple of tackling errors. Is this a one-off, kind of like the Alabama loss at Florida State, or there may be some issues here moving forward that we might want to concern at and maybe take a shot at no playoff at +2 at a nice plus price right now, Geoff?
I don't know, man. It's you're going to lose games. We had one team undefeated last year, and that team didn't even win the championship. So, and look, Ohio State last year having those 2 losses certainly helps everyone's case, right? I mean, we heard today from everyone, oh, Ohio State lost twice last year to win a championship. So to me, it doesn't change much. Look, the problem still remains for Miami is like they just have these games where they don't look like any other games they play all season. And can they have that again? Absolutely. But nothing for me changes here. Yeah, they didn't play great. Beck wasn't great. They didn't run the ball great, but they've shown the ability to run the ball fine in every other game and throw the ball well in every other game, Sammy. So to me, the way this is set up now, you can lose 1 or 2 games. I don't really think it changes much unless I see them play down to Stanford this weekend.
You got to win that game, period. And I think the people with the Mario pitchforks are puffing their chest out. You're a 14-point favorite day of the game. Now, Louisville did get bet. They got bet pretty handsomely day of the game. But at the end of the day, power ratings, you're supposed to win that game. Like, as a 14-point favorite, you can't lose. And Carson Beck, good Lord, man. 5 picks, 4 of them counted because the one he got bailed out on a roughing the passer call. Bear, we had 3-1. And people were upset. Oh, all these guys do is talk about Carson Beck. Well, yeah, he was favored to win the Heisman. What do you want us to do? Like ignore it? And now it's over. But it was a fun run. It was like a 6-7 week run. I enjoyed it. And now the ride is over.
Yep. You think it's over? You don't think if they go 11-1, he's back into it?
Nah, that was an ugly performance. I don't think he can overcome that. Unfortunately,
I we'll get to Heisman soon. I don't even know who's winning the Heisman this match. I mean, who would you put your money on? That's why I think he's not dead.
Well, I think Ty Simpson. It's funny. I was talking with people last week, and I said I thought if the vote was being done last week, I thought Ty Simpson would win, and now he is the favorite, and he continues. And Sammy, I know you got the good number on him. Some other people got some good numbers on him, and what Alabama has done the last 4 weeks. I don't think there are many teams in college football that could have done that. You look at their strength of record; it's through the roof. They made it through the gauntlet. We said the one-off at Florida State. I mean, they overcame that, and now they are in a position where they're ranked, I think, 4th in the AP poll. I actually have them ranked 3rd based on the quality wins that they have. Now you got to just avoid that sleepy spot this week at South Carolina.
Well, I mean, South Carolina was bad last weekend. I think some of us liked them a little bit, and they were atrocious. I don't think that's a problem this weekend against them. I look, Bama's in that bubble, man. Sammy, they're good, and it's so funny. You know, Kalen DeBoer has won everywhere he's been, and he lost game 1 this year. People freaked out again, and since then, this team is rolling, man. They're making plays all over the field. Simpson's doing enough. They got that pick 6 at the end of the first half.
Usually, a totally different game after that.
Good. But that's football, you know. The Tennessee quarterback didn't see him because there was a guy in his face and throws a pick 6, and the game is over immediately.
That was one of my bets. Tennessee first half. It was like, oh, so close.
Oh,
they're at the 1. Like the only thing that can't happen is that right there. Yeah. What just happened? That cannot happen.
Are we still looking to win the Powerball to buy out Kalen DeBoer there, Sammy? Is that's still the rumor going on down there? We're going to do that.
If they want to buy him out after beating Georgia, Vandy, Mizzou, and Tennessee, they're stupider than I thought.
Yeah, he can coach, man. And we talked about whether Ty Simpson was going to be the guy. He'd been there 4 years, hadn't played very much, and every week he seems to be getting a little bit better. And so you have to be impressed with where they're at right now. And they're firmly in that. To me, the small bubble teams that can win the championship, and even with this, look, they can afford one more loss, probably a playoff team, and
easily.
they're going to be a team that's going to be a tough out for anyone in the country. Ohio State's not going to have an easy time with Alabama.
No, they certainly won't. A team that we thought may have had an easy time with the Big 12 certainly didn't have an easy time with the Big 12. Baron Morton didn't play without one of the better defensive linemen now for the year. We thought Texas Tech was head and shoulders above everybody in the Big 12, but a wild fourth quarter amongst a bunch of wild fourth quarters in both pro and college football this week. Arizona State, remember them? They won the league last year and made the playoff. Pull the upset Sammy and another team that did get bet this week, and they did win outright.
We talked about that on Friday, Bruce and the Bear. They came in heavy. Now that number opened 11.5. When Levitt was at practice last Monday, they bet it to 9.5, and they didn't stop. This was 7 day of the game, and we talked about it on Friday. You and I heard the same thing, that Levitt was healthy, and that was always sort of the plan. They didn't want to rush him back. They didn't want to play him in the rain in Salt Lake City. He looked good, and that's another team where a line moves 4.5 points. Some people get scared away by the movement, but it was really never in doubt. They were in control basically the entire way.
Look, this is a perfect college football storyline and game, right? Texas Tech starts really fast this year, and they're still good. But the worst people we know in the industry are like, I'm betting them to win a championship now.
Still the short shot, by the way, to win the Big 12.
Sure, they can still win the Big 12, and then they lose, of course, right? Because that's the way this works, right? And so this is a typical college football thing. You think a team is one thing, and they might not be, and they lose on the road. And Arizona State, we got fooled, I think, maybe into Geoff. I read something pretty interesting this week that Kenny Dillingham went back to tackling at practice this week. He wanted to get a little physical, and it paid off. And look, they got kind of pushed around by Utah. Texas Tech's got a really good defensive front. They weren't pushed around this game, so a big win for Dillingham. Dillingham's at his alma mater. He's not going anywhere, but I'm surprised his name has not been floated for some of these jobs. I don't think he should go, but I mean, he's done a great job. He's super young. He's recruited well. He knows how to call an offense. He'll get along with all the boosters. I'm surprised his name has not been given the attention for some of these jobs.
That's the type of guy that seems like you need to have a successful program in this day and age in college football, where, yes, you're the head coach, you're the front man. You obviously need football knowledge, but you need to be out there in public. You need to understand the NIL era. You need to have the relationship with the boosters. You need to have a little bit of an edge to you. Like that's a guy that I would want leading my program. In the Big 12, the game that Big Dune was at on Saturday, the Holy War, BYU continues to, I don't want to say pull them out of the you-know-what, but another close win. They made plays late when they had to. Comeback win at home against Utah. Now that's 3 one-score games, I think, in the Big 12 this year. I might be just done betting against BYU this year, Sammy.
Well, 7-0. If you've done it every time, you have no wins because they just keep finding ways. And whether it's lucky or not, 7-0. That's all the Cougars fans care about, man. I mean, how many can they win? Can they go 12-0? Question mark. Maybe. I don't know. It's a good team.
It is a good team. Well, let's see. They're an underdog this week at Iowa State. They go to Texas Tech a week after that. They have TCU at home. They go to Cincinnati, and they have USF. I think they lose those 3 road games. I think they lose
all 3.
I think they lose all 3. I think they lose all 3. How about that? Might have to see if there's an adjusted win total on BYU. Anyone want to post a 9.5 under with plus money? I'll take that.
I think it's time we stop looking at Utah as the program they were like 4 years ago.
Good idea.
They've sorely been uncompetitive in these games for a couple of years now. And obviously quarterback problems last season, but they played basically 2 teams this season that are worth anything, and they just didn't look good. They're 5-2. They're doing a good job against everyone else. But against Texas Tech and BYU, it looks nothing like it should. And I think we have to stop looking at Utah. Unfortunately, I like Utah. I like Whittingham. I like what they did with that program. But Bear, it's in these big games the last 3 or 4 years, it's not been the same team that we saw with those Rose Bowl teams. I think we have to stop looking at Utah in that way.
Yeah, no, they have not had that game breaker at wide receiver. It appears, and it's interesting. I remember on Saturday morning in the interview that we were doing with Kyle, saying something about like for the last 35 years or so, there's been a Whittingham member like associated with Utah football, and we're curious to see if Kyle comes back next year. We're talking about national championship contenders. Notre Dame. If we are doing a national championship draft right now, how many teams are we picking before we pick Notre Dame to win the national title? It's probably not a very long list, rather.
Go ahead, Geoff.
Well, Ohio State, check, right? Bama, I think we'll put Bama in front of that. And then
Really? Okay.
No, you won't.
Maybe. No, I'd say maybe. I could argue either way.
Are you putting Oregon before them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now I think we get into the fun. Miami.
Miami beat them early on, but I think if
Correct.
they played again right now, I think Notre Dame would be favored and should be favored.
Okay.
The only teams I have shorter than Notre Dame right now are Ohio State, Bama, and Oregon. The only teams that have, bigger power ratings than Notre Dame. They're fourth right now. And there's a guy in Vegas who says they're his number 2 team right now.
Where's Indiana for you? Where's Indiana for you?
Is sixth.
Okay. Yeah. I am still curious about Notre Dame's defense in general. And Carr made a really silly turnover, and you're going to get that with freshmen, and that does worry me. I mean, they should have won that game by 20. You hit your over. I hit a live game over. It did not hit. Unfortunately, they did cover the 9.5, which was nice, but they on offense, man, are special. Those running backs are legit. Carr can do some great things with the ball. Defensively, they've gotten better. Absolutely have. USC had some just horrific play calls on 4th down in that game. I mean, look at Riley. Offensive genius. I agree there, but sometimes he does some really silly things. That double pass wide receiver was it Lemon who was a quarterback? Why?
Yeah, that was
why? What are we doing?
That was the game right there.
And it's so foolish. So yeah, the Irish are about where they should be, but I do have those concerns. Again, no team is perfect. So concerns about Notre Dame. We have concerns about all the other teams on that list as well.
They almost didn't cover too. They should have won that game by 24. They just kept kicking themselves. Why is Marcus Freeman kicking a field goal up 3 to go up 6? Like I don't understand that.
It's always a mistake. Always a mistake.
I never understand why coaches kick field goals to make a 1-score game a 1-score game.
And their kicking game right now is tragic, to say the least. But by the way, Sammy, I believe on Bruce and the Bear on Friday, we kind of mentioned that there were two public dogs lining up this week, Ole Miss and USC. Talk about some brutal beats. That Ole Miss loss. If you had the Rebs, that you don't get stopped for 3 quarters, and then you get outgained. What was it, like 144-13 in the fourth quarter. But I'll tell you what, Georgia, they've got flaws, but you can't kill them. They're nowhere near as good defensively as they've been until in the second half and fourth quarter when they need to stop that they are. Like, would not surprise me to see Georgia both A, playing on January 19th because of the pedigree that they have and their ability to run, and B, it would not be surprising to see Gunnar Stockton in New York on the second Saturday in December.
Yeah, I mean, defensively it's a concern, of course, but it just feels like the margin of error there, because their defense is not great this year, is kind of small, but there is something to the idea that every time they need Gunnar Stockton's best game, he has it. And look, again, the concern is that if he doesn't have it in a certain game, then you become, prone to obviously losing. But I love the resilience, man. I love it. They've been down this year. They've battled, they've clawed. And also, too, it's important to note, we talk about the bad defense and certainly not great, but, for so long they won one way. Now they're winning a different way. And I give credit to the coaching staff for embracing sort of the new way they have to win. That's what good coaches do, right? And Kirby Smart has done a good job of that.
They're going to really, really run into form at the right time, too. I mean, the only tough game left on the schedule is Texas. I guess Georgia Tech's a tough one, too, but you should win that one. Right. I mean, obviously, Georgia Tech's a tough one. But in terms of SEC schedule, the only game left that matters is Texas. And you're at home. You should win that one. We talked about them 6-1 on Thursday to win the SEC. 6-1, long gone.
The 7th-ranked Georgia Tech Jackets, 7th in the country.
I can't believe it. You look at. I mean, Sammy, I think they are. Remember last year when we were talking about like Indiana was like that team in terms of like power ratings and strength of schedule and strength of record against where the polls had them. Like Georgia Tech's that team this year. They're like 26, I think, in SP plus, 28 in FPI, like 23 in Sagarin, and the AP poll has them 7th, and the coaches poll has them 7th. Like if you watch that team play, like field goal win against Clemson in a game that they probably you can look back now, should have won by more. The game against Colorado, which they wound up winning, Haynes King a big run late. The Wake Forest game, which Wake should have gotten a first down on a blown call offsides. It would have been able to run out the clock. Like, this is not the 7th best team in the country. But however, you think Georgia Tech would like a little do-over now and not have that game in late in Thanksgiving weekend in the Mercedes-Benz Dome where it's going to be 90% Georgia Bulldogs fans? Give away the home game for that?
I've got them 10 points apart on a neutral, Georgia and Georgia Tech. 10.
I bet on Duke, by the way, twice this season. Both games they've decided just to shit the bed. I mean, I bet on them against Illinois and then Georgia Tech. Like, both games where, and then I hit Duke live at halftime. They were outgained during the terrible fumble. Was a fumble or pick six to end the first half, and they were outgaining them. They're at home. I'm like, they're playing better football than them. Nope, not going to happen. So Duke's on my list in Iowa. I got to get off my chest. Bear.
Speak, preach.
Sammy. Part of wagering is we're going to wager on bad teams that are like unwatchable. I watched some of Northwestern Purdue, unwatchable game. Okay. But at least like Purdue is sort of trying to like score points, right? Like they're trying to win.
Were they?
They
didn't score any.
Well, they lost their quarterback. So like that hurt them. But like but Bear, when you watch them like offensively, I see the vision. Okay. I see like them trying to do something. Iowa is just so conservative and boring and bland. And it's like they do have good players and they just choose at all opportunities to punt the ball. And then all of a sudden, the coach, who's the most conservative in the country, goes, you know what? Let's try a 67-yard field goal. 67-yard field goal to end the first half. And Sammy had his bad first half beat with Tennessee. Now, this cost me the end of the game, not the first half. The kick gets blocked by a helmet. Shocking. A 67-yard field goal gets kicked in someone's helmet. This is after they missed the warm-up attempt that Penn State called timeout on by 10 yards. It finished 10 yards short. Like, Iowa guys, please, I need to be accountable on this. You have to hold me accountable. Normal Iowa bets. Just never, ever again. I can't do boring, conservative. Like, I can't watch them play football.
I remember last year you did this with Rutgers. You said no more Rutgers, and then you bet Rutgers the next week.
Well, the Iowa schedule turns out that there's not many opportunities to bet Iowa. So I'm not going to bet Iowa.
You can bet a McKinnick in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't know if they score 10 on us, maybe 13, I guess. I don't think they're gonna score on us. But the Iowa thing, man, it made me so angry this weekend. I shouldn't let this bother me so much, but I just can't stand that style of football, guys, where you're like, you can clearly tell they're trying not to screw up. And it almost worked. They had an interception that led to a touchdown. Like, it does sort of work, but man, it's difficult to watch as a fan of football the way they play. I can't stand it.
You didn't like the 67-yard quarterback run up the middle with the broken tackles? You didn't think that was a creative offense?
It's so, and again, like they have like good football players, right? They don't have bad players, and they just play this brand of football that I can't imagine being an Iowa fan having to watch it every week.
And it's better now than what it was. It's funny. I brought this up last week, and I brought it up on Saturday morning on the Big Noon Show. If you go back now, I think it's since 2019, Iowa has been involved in 23 games where the spread has been within +3, -3, either way. They are 20-3 in those 23 games. So whether you like it, I like it, whomever likes it, whatever Kirk Ferentz and Parker are doing, they are winning these games that are considered to be toss-up or a slight dog type of game. So give them credit. Like we said, bad loses more than good wins, and some bad decisions there ultimately by Penn State did them in. You talked about the Heisman earlier. We talked about the Heisman earlier. Ty Simpson being the favorite. Could Mendoza win? Our Carson bet tickets dead. Can Diego Pavia win this thing? Like, I bet him on Saturday when I saw the odds get posted. I got it at 14-1, which obviously is nowhere near the price that I could have gotten before the LSU game. But you look at their schedule. There's no why can't they beat Missouri this week? Why can't they go to Texas, who can't score, and win? And why can't they win against Tennessee? Like, this is a well-coached team with a quarterback who makes every single play he needs to. They're physical at the line of scrimmage. They kind of owned the LSU defense this week. Now, look, will he ultimately win? Probably not. But the fact that we're sitting here the last week of October talking about Vandy being a top 10 team, Vandy being in contention for the college football playoff, and a Vandy player being in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, like all these people talking about Clark Lee leaving, I'm not sure he goes anywhere.
They are relevant, and they're favored again this week against Missouri. They were favored against LSU. I saw your boy Portnoy had a huge bet.
He was very happy.
Watching the show.
He was very happy.
Lot of Portnoy these days during the Bears segments.
Yep.
But he had a bomb on Vandy, and that got home. Remember, we talked about that as well. That was the first time they were favored against LSU since 1948. They delivered, and they have another chance today, Geoff, or another chance this weekend to do it against Mizzou.
The thing about Vanderbilt this year, guys, is they have a group of offensive, defensive linemen they've never had before. Like, a lot of times these schools like Vanderbilt, right, they play teams close for, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 minutes. And eventually the physicality of their opponent takes over, right? You can only out-scheme someone for so long. You can only sort of trick them for so long. Eventually, you know, the bill comes due in the trenches. And this Vanderbilt team, they're a Joe Moore Award midseason honor roll group. There's a video that I put out. Well, I retweeted Cole Cube, like you can check it out, where the left guard pancakes two people in the same play. Like, these dudes are legitimately good inside, and it's really turning this team into a physical beast that can play against the LSUs, the Georgias, the Texas. Like, those, it's never been done. They never had this before, Bear. And so they're absolutely in this discussion. In a year when the Heisman, who's winning it? Is Mendoza really going to win the Heisman? When you watch Mendoza play, great job, by the way. They good winning. It's like, you look in, like, that's a Heisman winner. Dante Moore doesn't feel like the Heisman winner anymore. Ty Simpson, okay, that makes sense. Pavia, the way he plays, his flair, his toughness, his style of play, absolutely in the discussion.
Poster child for, like, student athlete, like, being able to play, and whether you agree or disagree that how many years you should get for eligibility. I guess the question too, like, around the Heisman is, like, what will happen with the votes at Ohio State? Should Ohio State win the Big Ten and go 13-0? Like, will Sayin and Jeremiah Smith split votes? Will it go to the quarterback? I think ultimately that will have does Alabama win the SEC? Like, I think there are going to be a lot of interesting voting. By the way, Sammy, I don't know if you have access right now to odds. FanDuel's down here for me, and in Connecticut, DraftKings doesn't post odds to make the playoff. Like, do you have odds to make do you have a price on Vandy to make the CFP right now? Is that up anywhere?
I can look. I can check real quick. A lot of these books have taken a lot of these things down. Give me like 45 seconds.
Yeah,
let me see if I can find it.
I think, by the way, I think some of it that there's the servers are down today. There's about, like, a bunch of servers down. So
I saw that FanDuel was down. I think Caesars was down. I saw that internally. I got a nice internal email.
I see plus 240 to make the
plus
playoff.
240 DraftKings.
That's short.
Yeah,
that's really short.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine what it'll be when they beat Mizzou.
It'll be even shorter than that.
Wow, we're gonna have the playoff this year has a chance to be like just some wild teams.
Plus 240.
Wild teams.
But good. But speaking of wild, like in the college football playoff, you have the Big Ten, which probably has three of the top 5 teams in college football, maybe, I'd say. And they're probably not gonna have another team in the playoff.
You haven't gotten anything from the Michigans and the USCs and the Nebraskas and the Illinois.
Oh, why isn't Washington ranked this week? Why are they not ranked this week, guys? Bear, do you have an answer?
Yeah, because they predictably did nothing offensively this week.
I was curious because last week everyone was upset they weren't ranked. I just wanted to get in on the fun.
All that did was help us. All it did was drive that number down to 4.5. We got a cheaper number. And actually there were some people out there that they tweeted back at me after my picks and said, actually, they said that your picks, you all got there. he said, I even backed it up and played. He's like, I got Georgia it plus money at some point in the game to win. I got Michigan down to like minus 160 money line, and I took Coastal Carolina plus 20.5 live. All three of those got there. All three of the pre-flop numbers got there. So good on you. It's amazing. Like people, I guess it was just the record, but like we pointed out with Washington last night, what did they have going for? Like you lost by 3 scores at home to Ohio State, and who'd you beat? By the way, because we betting them this week. We betting them.
Who? Washington?
Betting Washington -5 against Illinois.
Absolutely, I am. Yes. Yes, we'll get to our wedges we're looking at, Bear, because that's one that I have already eyed already because I'm Illinois. No, Washington's much better at home though. They're at home.
Right.
They're much better at home, and they're not playing that early kickoff in this instance. You get the early kickoff game with Indiana and UCLA. We do have one bad beat though in the Big Ten, Bear. Were any of you guys on Michigan State?
No. Oh God, no.
Okay, good.
That's usually the type of team I like to bet, but they're so bad I couldn't even stomach myself to bet them.
Are they a fire their coach team too, Bear? You heard anything about that?
I know the fan base there appears to want them fired, but again, state school in the capital. What, year 2?
2, yeah. It took them 5 years at Oregon State to win 10 games.
I don't think they make a change. I think he stays. I think he's a good coach. I just think that's a program that they had a great run under Dino, and they're just not going to be able to ever replicate that in the new landscape era of the Big Ten and national college football.
I agree. I think it's just too difficult right now. I mean, Charles has talent, obviously. Michigan State is getting 14, I think, right now, hosting Michigan this weekend. You going to bite on that one or not? That's
a dead under game, isn't it? Isn't that a dead under game? Michigan can't throw. Michigan State can't score. Like, is that like an NFL total? Is that like a 43 total?
I don't have it up right now. Maybe Sammy does, but Michigan's also, to your point, Barry, they played far worse on the road this season. No surprise offensively with a young quarterback. But Michigan State just might be like dead. I mean, they were
48.5.
Actually, it's higher than I thought.
It's higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, same thing as well. I'm curious what Washington. Yeah, I mean, look, SP Plus has Washington projected to win by 4. To back to that Washington game. So yeah, I think I'm going to be on Washington. Before we get to
Napier is questionable against Colorado. That just came across. Colorado's getting bet right now.
Well, the good news is that was like it. I think look ahead was like 9. It was up to 14, I think, last I saw. I might still take Utah.
They're betting 15 right now.
Yeah.
Utah is a 14-point favorite over Colorado.
They were, yeah.
It's on the move, Bear. It's on the move as we speak.
Oh, if we learned that Napier was hurt again against BYU and they didn't say anything, I might never mention Utah ever again in any program I ever do, Bear.
They are the never, ever, ever trust a single word coming out of their mouth type of program. It's fine. Whatever.
Speaking about trust on the NFL, are we allowed to trust the Colts yet? Are we bought in because offensively they're on a tear right now that we have seen very rarely in the National Football League, and all they do is beat the shit out when they play, and they score a ton of points defensively. I'm not sure they're great, but it doesn't matter because they score a ton of points. Bear, are we in on the Colts, or is it time to finally admit that they're good? They're going to beat Tennessee this weekend by a ton. The test will be November 23rd at Kansas City. That'll tell us if they're legitimately a championship type caliber team. Even though I will say this is, again, Colts are going to hate this, but envision this. Like, are we envisioning the end of the season in February? Bear will be in Turks and Caicos by then. He'll be gone, as usual.
Potentially. I haven't booked that trip yet. I haven't booked the dates. Trying to figure out the best value for room and flight, and can our friends make it that weekend as well? So we're still trying to figure out the Turks and Caicos plan.
But no, Bear's going to just go to the Delta Lounge for a week and sleep there.
Probably. Hey. But is Daniel Jones holding up that Lombardi trophy at the end of the season? Right? No. Like, that's the question. No. So we give them flowers for what they've done now, Sammy, but I'm not betting them to win anything more than just the game this weekend. I don't really know if they're a deep playoff run team.
I get Viking vibes a little bit, and maybe that's not
Great
fair,
call.
but Minnesota was very good in the regular season last year and then just completely fell apart when pressure, racked up. So I think this running game is sensational. And Geoff, you know this. I don't have to tell you.
Great, yeah.
Their offensive line is insane.
They're mauling people, yeah.
They beat you for 4 quarters, and Jonathan Taylor in the third, fourth quarter is running through gaping holes. I mean, like, you can't keep up with that for 4 quarters. It'll take a physical team to out them in the playoffs, but if you can get Daniel Jones behind, that's obviously the game plan, Bear. You don't want to play from behind against the Colts. You want to get ahead of them and make them throw.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't this kind of feel like you're going to see Kansas City go in there into Indy and get that win?
It's at home. I think it's in Kansas City.
No. I'm talking about in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. Yes. I'm with your Bear.
Well, go ahead.
You'll be proud of me, Bear. I know you mocked me, but I did bet more Chiefs today. Division.
You should.
Yeah.
And you, in a sense, we got fortunate because the Broncos got that win yesterday, so that probably helped the price a little bit. The Fugazi Bronco win.
I had 20 people over yesterday for a cookout. They all said the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Like, everybody's saying it. It drives me nuts because it's going to happen too, and I didn't bet it.
Right? Should Daniel Jones be 22-1 for MVP? Or do we think that people
is at the end of the season at the NFL awards show, Bear, when they get up on stage and they say, "Here's our presenters for NFL MVP," and they open up the envelope, is it going to read Daniel Jones? Like, is that something that we've seen very often in NFL history? The answer is no.
No, I don't think so. But should he be? I guess a better way of saying it, guy. Should Mahomes be plus 150, Baker plus 320? And Daniel Jones be 22-1, especially considering that the Colts are maybe the 1 seed, even though I like that Chiefs to be the 1 seed bet still.
No, you're right about price. I just think it's unlikely to actually happen. The Chiefs, by the way, had a chance yesterday to leave Mahomes in for like 2 more drives to stat pad, didn't do it.
Smart.
That kind of, if you have Mahomes for MVP, you could have added maybe 100 more yards and 2 more touchdowns if you kept playing yesterday.
Smart that they didn't, though. Don't want to.
Absolutely.
Don't want to risk injury. And was that? I mean, there have been a lot of bad games in the NFL. A lot of bad games. Was that just the biggest beatdown, worst possible performance that you could? I'm just glad that they took Ashton Genty 6th overall. I mean, that made so much sense for a team that needs everything. Let's take a running back. Well, I'm not bitter still.
It really helped them get those 3 first downs they had yesterday. That was impressive. The game was so bad the Chiefs took a knee with over 2 minutes left on the final drive of the game. They took a knee, 2-minute warning, took 2 knees and punted the ball back. Sammy, the Raiders had 3 first downs the entire football game.
It was bad. I didn't bet it. I thought about it too. I was staring at that 13.5. I'm like, ooh, that's a big number. And I correctly stayed off it.
Guys, one NFL thing we're seeing this year that we saw a little bit last season is the bad teams are hopelessly bad, and they're not getting close to covering these numbers. The Titans again, the Dolphins again, the Jets were sort of close, right? But not really for most of the game. The teams that Raiders, the teams that are bad, I don't even know what number I could take, and we all like taking these big dogs every now and then. I think those 4 teams are like unwagerable. You just can't wager on them anymore because they're not even competitive in these games. Think about the games they lost yesterday.
It's amazing because as a Jets fan, I watched like nothing of that game yesterday. I was out, slept in, went out, did my errands, went to the grocery store, did the grocery shopping, came back and literally turned on the TV right as Carolina was taking knees. But I was listening to the VSiN betting show around and just this, and I just went back and looked this morning, like the number of Justin Fields truthers that are out there is amazing. Like Tyrod Taylor is like 10,000 times better than Justin Fields. And people, you got to, What about the 5-year track record of Justin Fields in the NFL makes you think that he can be a serviceable starting quarterback in this league? And you got to give him a chance. And Geoff, you brought this up in the past, and you brought it up again on Thursday when we talked about it, and you were like, he's going to get benched. And it comes down to like the guys in the locker room know. And yeah, the Jets are terrible. They're going to win 1-2 games this year. But Tyrod Taylor gives you the best chance to win. The guys in the locker room know that. Yeah. And if they're not playing him, there's going to be a little bit of malcontent in the locker room, right?
I think so. And Aaron Glenn said after the game, he's going to consult other coaches that have been in this spot before to figure out whether to play Fields or not. You just can't play him. I want to give a shout out, by the way, quickly to Big Cat, who, Bear, you obviously have on the staff for Big New Kickoff. His capri pants theory, the two coaches who wear capri pants are in the AFC East. One is 0-7, one is 1-6. I'm not great at math. 1-13. I feel like the capri pants is an auto fade against every single week.
He was 6 of 12. Fields 6 of 12 for 46 yards. He's had 3 games this year, Bear. 46 passing yards, 45 passing yards, 27 passing yards.
And people continue to think
it's because of draft slot. It's draft slot biased, Bear, and it's because of Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold and some of the guys that have gone to new situations and played well, even though this is Justin Fields' 3rd situation now in his short career.
Yeah, Sam Darnold went from the Jets to another team and played well. This is like Justin Fields going from 2 teams where he didn't play well to the Jets. What do you expect is going to happen here? But moving on to this week. College football, looking at headlines and games that we're kind of eyeing. I saw 2 that kind of stuck out at me this week. Oklahoma, 4.5 over Ole Miss. I saw that, and I know the Ole Miss defense couldn't get a stop against Georgia. But that offense and the way Chambliss played for the first 3 quarters was incredible. And now you're going against an Oklahoma offense that I don't think is very good. It's driving. I don't think Napier is fully healthy yet. They struggle to move the ball against the good teams that they played. I think Ole Miss is they're going to be a problem for anybody on offense. That number surprised me at 4.5. I'm curious to see right there in no man's land if the Rebels get money or if OU gets money coming off of the biggest question to me in that game is, does Ole Miss bounce back from that loss? Because I saw somewhere Ole Miss minus 110 to make the playoff. Even if they lose this week at OU, you got Florida at home. You got, I think it was South Carolina at home, and you got a game against Mississippi State on the road, the Egg Bowl. 10-2 feels like a very likely outcome for Ole Miss, and 10-2 in SEC, they're in. And then the other game was Texas minus 7 against Mississippi State. Are we still going to continue to do this with Texas and lay big numbers or post them at a bit? Look, their defense is really good, but what have we seen from this offense to lead anyone to believe that they deserve to be a 7-point favorite on the road against anyone?
7s are already gone, Geoff. They took the 7, 6.5
as they should.
Yeah. I mean, the only case you make for Texas is that the game after Red River, Sarkis yet to cover. It hasn't been good, but I don't know. I mean, that Red River game, I think more to do with John Napier not being healthy than anything else. Sammy, you're going. I love the game that you have your eye on, because this is it's right up my alley. A random Pac-12 MAC matchup.
Yeah, well, I gave everybody Toledo over 8.5 wins in the summer, and they lost twice as a double-digit favorite. So we need
Welcome
Toledo.
To the Jason Candle experience.
We need Toledo to run the table, Bear. That's what we need. But look at this number. Washington State opened 1 at home against Toledo. That's a good sign for the Rockets. Hey, they're not laying 10 here. They're getting points. This is good.
And that's an interesting game, because I think people will look at the last couple of weeks where Wazoo went to the Grove, played really well, went back to Virginia, played really well, and now we're home against Toledo. Who I might have to look at that one, Sammy.
I'm betting Toledo for sure. I'm betting Toledo. I'm going to go down with the ship.
It's got to be Toledo or pass, right?
Yes. Think about the Wazoo again flew from Pullman, Washington, or really from Spokane-ish, right? Lewiston, to Ole Miss, flew back home, flew to Virginia, flew back home. They lost by 3 and lost by 2. Yeah, they're back home. That's a lot of travel, man. That's a lot of travel for them. And Toledo's going to feel like they can win this game. Bear, I'm eyeing a couple games. One of them is the game that you're going to be at in Bloomington. UCLA, man, great story. I think they're walking into a hornet's nest this weekend, buddy. I think Indiana is going to roll UCLA this weekend. This is not Maryland at home.
No,
it's not Penn State. It's not who else they beat. It's not Michigan State. Like, this is Indiana. They had no letdown last weekend. Like, that was nothing whatsoever. I think this game is super ugly. 49-10, and we know that Cignetti doesn't mind scoring a couple late as well, especially on national television. And then I like the Washington Huskies. I'm going to bet I'm 3-0 betting on Washington games so far this season. Someone said that they don't trust me when I bet against the teams that I hate so much. I'm 3-0 in Washington games this season. So I think Washington handles Illinois pretty well this weekend at home.
And are you 2-0 in USC? Because you had Illinois against USC.
I had Illinois.
You had Notre Dame against USC.
And then I tailed you in week 1. So I'm 3-0 betting USC games as well.
Wow.
No,
6-0 with the hate bet.
No, 3-1. I lost to Michigan. I took Michigan home against USC. So 6-1 hate wagers at the moment. So yeah, good start for me there. No, I think Washington, it's a perfect spot. They're so much better at home, as we know. And Illinois is not impressive. Like, what about Illinois' style of play makes you think they're going to go on the road in a pretty hostile spot off Washington played poorly? And I just think Washington is going to win this game by touchdown.
Well, I'm hoping that they do to keep that under 8.5 season win total alive. Because if you look at Illinois' schedule the rest of the way after that, Sunge, Maryland, at Wisconsin, and Northwestern. Like, when I did this before the year, I was banking on a split with Duke and SC. Didn't get it. Potentially could have lost to SC. Maybe should have lost to SC if they were fully healthy. The Duke game was what it was. I can't check right now. FanDuel had posted these odds to win 9+ games. And last week, Illinois was plus 105 to win 9+ games. So if you did go under 8.5 and you're looking potentially to get off of that, there is a way you could do that right there.
Bear, how do we feel about Sunge laying 2.5 at Purdue this weekend?
Anyway, what time is that game?
Noon.
Oh, I'd say it's sacrilegious. How can you have the big noon game, Indiana UCLA at noon, and then just up the road in West Lafayette, Sunge and Boiler up same time? Oh, come on! You're asking fans in that area, college football fans, to make a decision as to what game they're going to go to. Oh, that's terrible.
It's very, very disappointing. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's stupid. But by the way, speaking of big games, massive game, FCS this week. 1 versus 2, Bison, Jackrabbits. I think they've combined to win like 12 of the last 14 FCS titles. Dakota Marker game in Brookings, South Dakota, home of South Dakota State. Been there for a couple of those games. I think it's prime time on I think ESPNU maybe. So it might be a game on Saturday night that you might want to take in as well. So, by the way, we talked about Purdue Sunge. Someone's getting their first Big Ten game of the year. Bobby Petrino, you freeze. One of those two are going to win an SEC game for the first time this year.
I mean, how many more jobs are opening? I mean, Arkansas is already open, right? Auburn's going to open up, right? We know that.
I'm not convinced Arkansas is open. I'm telling you, they want to hire him so badly full time. Please hire him full time.
That would be good for us. Good for our show. Good. Lots of topics to get to.
It would be good. But yeah, we'll see how many Auburn's going to open up for sure. They can't help themselves. And what's he free? What's he now? 5-15 in SEC play. So yeah, not good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. It's fun letting out our frustrations of the weekend. Looking forward to this week. You know the schedule again by now. Thursday, NFL. Thursday, college. Friday, Bruce and the Bear. I'll join you from Big Noon Kickoff on Saturday from Bloomington. For Sammy, for Geoff, for Bear, less you bet, more you lose when you win.